Children, today we are continuing with the chapter 3, from gathering to growing food. Okay, here is a heading domestication. What do you mean by domestication? It is a name given to the process in which people grow plants and look after animals. Very often, plants and animals that are tended by people become different from wild plants and animals. This is because people select plants and animals for domestication. For example, they select those plants and animals that are not prone to disease. They also select plants that yield large size grain and have strong stalks capable of bearing the weight of the ripe grain. Seeds from selected plants are preserved and sown to ensure that new plants and seeds will have the same qualities. Amongst animals, those that are relatively gentle are selected for breeding. As a result, gradually domesticated animals and plants become different from wild animals and plants. For example, the teeth and horns of wild animals are usually much larger than those of domesticated animals. Means domestication is a process in which people grow plants and look after animals. This process is known as domestication. Means when we grow some plants near our houses, and when we uh, tame some animals, this process is called domestication. And it is said that the animals to be domesticated are chosen by the people very carefully. Uh, some animals which are relatively gentle animals are selected, and those especially grass eating animals, and the plants also, the plants which have great size, large size grain, and which are edible, all these types of grains are also domesticated. Okay, now I will move to the next page. Finding out about the first farmers and herders. Turn to map 2. You will, page number 14, you will notice a number of blue squares. Each marks a site from where archaeologists have found evidence of early farmers and herders. These are found all over the subcontinent. Some of the most important ones are in the northwest, in present day Kashmir, and in east and south India. So I will show you the map. The on page number 14. This is that map. Okay, you can see blue squares. This is Burza home. We will learn in the next paragraph. Burza home in Kashmir, present day Kashmir. Meherga. This also you will study Meherga about. बहुत देखो सारी in South India, in eastern side of India, in western side of India, northwest. Okay, so these all blue squared places are in these places, evidence of early farmers and herders have found. Okay, now these are found all over the subcontinent of India. To find out whether these sites were settlements of farmers and herders, scientists study evidence of plants and animal bonds. So, to find out if these places are places of herders and uh, herders. So the scientists have their own proofs. One of the most exciting finds includes remains of burnt grain. This may have been burnt accidentally or on purpose. scientists can identify these grains, and so we know that a number of crops were grown in different parts of the subcontinent. They can also identify the bones of different animals. Means the scientists can identify the burnt grains, remains of burnt grains, and they can identify which grain is this, uh, and in that way we can know that these types of grains were used, and the people cultivated, otherwise domesticated these plants. And the second one is that by and scientists identify these grains. After that, crops were grown, and they can also identify the bones of different animals. Okay, so the animal bones can also be identified by the scientists, which type of bones are there. No, so and teeth are also there. No, so identifying these bones and teeth, we can assume that these types of animals were lived in the subcontinent, and the people domesticated these animals. So look at the table below to see where evidence of grains and bones of domesticated animals have been found. So this one shows that wheat, barley, plants, and sheep, goat, cattle, all these animals, meherga, I showed you, no, have shown you in the map. So meherga in present day Pakistan. Okay, so in meherga, all these evidence were there, and rice, fragmentary animal bones, all these were found in Koldiva in present day Uttar Pradesh, in UP में है. Then cattle, rice cattle, hoof marks on clay surface, all these were found in Meherga in present day UP, Uttar Pradesh. So, all these, they call wheat and lentil. All these were the proofs that the from the remains of the animals and animal bones and plant remains, otherwise burnt grain. These things. Okay, from we are moving to the next page. Okay, I think you can see this. Towards a settled life. Archaeologists have found traces of huts or houses at some sites. For instance, in Burza home, I have shown you in Kashmir, in present day Kashmir, the map में देखा था ना, people built pit houses. In Burza home, people built pit houses, which were dug into the ground with steps leading into them. These may have provided shelter in cold weather. Archaeologists have also found cooking hearths both inside and outside the huts, which suggests that depending on the weather, people could cook food either indoor or outdoors. It means that some evidences of pit houses were found from present day Kashmir. Okay, pit houses मतलब एक pit ना अर्थ के अंदर पिट डिग करके उसके अंदर स्टप बनाते हैं, और स्टप बना के उसके अंदर हाउस, मतलब अंडरग्राउंड हाउस huts were made in Burza home in present day Kashmir, and as scientists says that the to protect from the cold climate, Kashmir में cold climate है, to protect from the climate they made these types of houses. And also कुकिंग हर्ट्स, कुकिंग हर्ट्स मतलब चूल्हा, चूल्हा बोलते हैं ना हिंदी में. कुकिंग हर्ट्स मतलब प्रॉपर नहीं है, दो तीन पत्थर साइड लगा के उसके ऊपर बर्तन रख के आग जला के ऐसे खाना बनाते हैं ना गांव में, सेम लाइक दैट, उसको बोलते हैं कुकिंग हर्ट्स. Cooking hearths were also found from and ashes evidence, मतलब stones भी होगा दो तीन और ashes भी मिला होगा. Okay, so cooking hearths were also found by the archaeologists. and which suggests that depending matlab indoor and outdoor, both inside the house and outside the house, these earthen cooking hearths were found. It means that according to the depending upon the climate or weather, they cooked food from inside the house, otherwise outside the house also. Okay, next draw a pit house. Okay. Stone tools have been found from many sites as well. Now we are going to stone tools. Okay, this is a different type of stone tools. Many of these were different from the earlier Paleolithic tools, and that is why they are called Neolithic. So these stone tools are something different from the Paleolithic age, and so this is called Neolithic. Neolithic, neo matlab new, lithic matlab stone. Okay, these includes tools that were polished to give a fine cutting edge, and mortars and pestles used for grinding grain and other plant produce. So इसका मतलब क्या है, includes polished stones. They used the polished stones to give a fine cutting edge. फाइन कटिंग एड्ज मतलब अच्छे से शार्पनेस मिलने के लिए अच्छे से पॉलिश करके प्रॉपर stone tool were made. And it is said that mortars and pestles used for grinding grain. What do you mean by? I will show you the picture of mortars and pestles. You can understand by seeing this. This is mortars and pestles. Okay, this is the picture of mortars and pestles. Okay, these mortars and pestles were used by the people, early humans also. Even now we are using this, is it? Mm. So mortars and pestles are used for grinding grain even today, several thousands years later. At the same time, tools of the Paleolithic types continue to be made and used. And remember, some tools were also made of bone. Okay, so here is the picture of the fine polished the stone tools. Okay, so they also use the Paleolithic types of stones also, and some tools were made of bone. Okay, we are moving to the next section. Okay, many kinds of earthen pots have also been found. These were sometimes decorated and were used for storing things. People began using pots for cooking food, especially grains like rice, wheat, and lentils. That now became an important part of the diet. Besides, they began weaving cloth using different kinds of materials. For example, cotton that could now be grown. So I will show you the picture of a pot. So these types of pots were also used by the early human beings. Some pots were decorated and some were not, and they used these pots to cook food and also for storing seeds and food. Okay, and especially grains like rice, wheat, and lentils. What do you mean by lentils? Lentils matlab masoor. Masoor. So all these grains were also used by the people, and they also began weaving cloth. Using cotton. They may also began growing cotton. So they also started weaving clothes out of cotton. Okay. Now, did these changes? It's a question for you. Did things change everywhere and all at once? No, quite, not quite. In many areas, men and women still continue to hunt and gather food, and elsewhere, people adopted farming and herding slowly over several thousand years. Besides, in some cases, people tried to combine these activities, doing different things during different seasons. So, uh, it means that the things means डेवलपमेंट एकदम सारे जगह पे नहीं हुआ और होता भी नहीं ना. नॉट क्वाइट, क्वाइट मतलब कंप्लीटली, QUITE, क्वाइट मतलब कंप्लीटली, नॉट क्वाइट कंप्लीटली चेंजेस नहीं हुआ है, बट सो मेनी चेंजेस वेयर हैपेंड इन सम प्लेसेस, एंड इन सम प्लेसेस people continue to hunt and gather food. Okay, and slowly what happens, farming adopted, people adopted farming, and they began to domesticate animals and domesticate plants. Okay, and people tried to combine these activities during some seasons. Suppose rainy season, they cannot go, they cannot do anything, so they use these seeds, and okay, and some in summer they can move, they can hunt, they can do some other works, collect, gather food. So they began to continue, they began to combine all these activities together. Okay, so the next part we will discuss in the next class. Okay, have a nice time, children. Do watch this video 2 3 times, then only you can understand. If you have a textbook, read.